Hello, welcome to my channel. This is a book review of Everybody Always by Bob Goff, Becoming Love in a World Full of Setbacks and Difficult People. Alright guys, as always, if you're interested in this book, there's actually a link in the description down below. This is actually a New York Times bestseller. So last week I just did a review of Bob Goff's first book, which is called Love Does. And so there's a link here if you want. This is the second book that he has written. And so Bob Goff is one of my favorite people, /speaker, /writer, /anthropologist, /ambassador, /lawyer, /person. He's also a pilot and does a lot of other things. So he helps kids in other countries who face unjust situations such as trafficking, abuse, poverty, and other such situations. And in this 220-page book, Goff shares more life stories within 24 medium to short-sized chapters. This book is incredibly easy to read, and it is a page-turner. This book can easily be called Love Does 2.0, since it basically is an expansion of the first book in every way. By the way, he does talk about Love Does in here, not just the book, but the nonprofit organization that he started, that he works out of to help these kids in all these different countries. There are, of course, new stories, but there's nothing new other than that, which is perfectly fine. You could combine the two books and you wouldn't be able to tell when one ended and when the other one started. So if you like his first book, then this would be great for you. And so just like the first book, there's no overarching story. There's a lot of short stories in there about his life. But the message is the same about loving people, everybody, and always. So if you have yet to read the first book, this book would still be good for you because it does not really build upon it. You can start with this one as well. And so some books build upon their predecessors. This one does not. One of my favorite stories in this book has to do with Bob waiting at an airport in line for the car rental return. And so I love the story because I had a really similar experience with this when I was in line at an airport waiting to pick up a rental car. My issue being with those standing next to me, whereas Bob's issue was the rental car man who was taking forever. And so even though Bob is a pilot and he likes to fly himself when he does different speakings, it's like a propeller plane. He doesn't have a private jet. He's not one of those guys, but he likes to fly himself. But sometimes he also does commercial as well when it's convenient because he travels all the time. He's constantly speaking over the country. And so he had just spoken at a church on Super Bowl Sunday, and he wanted to get back home to be in time with his wife to watch the game. And so he was carrying around a bucket with him that month, like a metal bucket. And the entire month he was carrying around it with him to physically remind him that he needed to have more patience. He had heard someone say that they have what they put into their lives. And so this bucket, and so he filled his bucket mentally with patience, and that's what he would have. It was a constant reminder that he would have patience because he was working on patience. And so here he is sitting in line, and it's taking forever, and he realizes that he's going to miss his flight. And so he starts freaking out, and in his car he's like, come on, and he's getting mad. And he finally goes up to there, and he looks at the bucket, and he realizes that he needs to have patience. And so even though he wanted to just unload on this guy about how incompetent he is and he isn't doing a great job, he basically just tells him, you're awesome, everybody's awesome, have a great day, you're doing a good job. Basically just was really nice to him and just drove off. And I guess not drove off because he got out of his rental car. And so as he's going to the flight to reschedule his airplane because he realized he missed it, the guy chases him and follows up and says, hey, I just want to let you know that was a great sermon that you preached this Sunday. And he was thinking in his mind, you were there? And so that was just really important because he realized that you can be on stage and be preaching and talking about Jesus all you want, but then can you imagine if he had unloaded on this guy that also just came from the church and just started working there, to the person that he saw preaching, to have them be in line. How do you treat someone when you're in line? And so that was just one story there. I know there's a lot of other great stories, but I don't have time to share all of them because it would take 24 times that amount. And so all in all, this book was great. I do like the first one a little bit better, but here are some of my favorite quotes. Page number 9. Find someone you think is wrong, someone you disagree with, someone who isn't like you at all, and decide to love the person that way you want Jesus to love you. Jesus never said doing these things would be easy. He just said it would work. Page 54. It's easy to agree with what Jesus said. What's hard is actually doing what Jesus did. And last quote I want to share with you guys tonight is the guy who's up front at church needs to be the same guy in the back of the rental car line. If you can't do that, either stop driving or get off the stage. There you have it. There is my favorable recommendation of Everybody Always by Bob Goff. He did just come out with a third book, so my wife and I are going to order that soon. So in the future, hopefully I'll have a book review of that. Thank you so much for watching.